The Making of a Sire, KVN Corona. Episode 3 continues on stallionesearch.com. To catch you up where we're at in the story, we step back and look at KVN Corona's come-from-behind win in the Grade 2 Pacific Coast Quarter Horse Racing Association Breeders' Futurity, giving the colt his second futurity win in his 2-year-old campaign in California, which led him into the trials for his final target of the 2017 racing year, the Los Al 2 Million. In his trial in Deep Stretch, the Corona Cartel colt gutted out another victory at the wire in a time of 19.984 seconds, not fast enough to get him into the field for the finale of the 2-year-old stakes events at Los Alamitos, thus ending a 2-year-old campaign for the highly touted colt with a major futurity win in the Grade 1 Edberg Million Futurity and the Grade 2 Pacific Coast Quarter Horse Breeders' Futurity, ending the year with over $500,000 in earnings. The AQHA Awards night in Oklahoma City is the night in January when the quarter horse racing world gathers to recognize the grand achievements of the previous racing calendar. The first category of the night to be decided was the champion 2-year-old colt of 2017.
Your contenders for the 2-year-old colt champion are KVN Corona, owned by Keith Nellison, and a 3-time graded futurity winner this season. And the 2017 2-year-old colt is KVN Corona.
Capping off a stellar 2-year-old year with being honored as AQHA champion 2-year-old colt was KVN Corona. It's an award that was won in the past by a who's who in the quarter horse breeding and racing industry. If perhaps there is a precursor to success in the breeding shed, winning 2-year-old champion colt honors certainly could be that precursor. The 14-time world champion trainer Paul Jones and owner-breeder Keith Nellison were on hand in Oklahoma City to accept the award for the champion colt.
That was, again, it was one of those things that at the time you look around and you see the people that are up there getting those things, and you realize how fortunate, it is to be in that situation. And you think about all the people that it took. Lance and Marla, from the day they're born, are working to make sure everything goes right, to breaking them down there with Mike and bringing them over here, and so Sergio is groom, and all those things. That the margin of error in this business is so small that it really takes a lot of people to go and make that happen. Obviously, you got to start with great genetics, but it was the bad thing and the good thing about having a horse like that is you probably want a little bit more. We were really excited about his 3-year-old year, and still are.
Yeah, it's always a big thrill to train a world champion and to make another one. And it's a big thrill for me. It's a big thrill for the owners. When your name's called as 2-year-old world champion and you hear your name announced, there's nothing better than that. It kind of what makes it all worthwhile. It sets him up for his breeding career and a lot. Be named champion 2-year-old colt. There's only one champion 2-year-old colt out there, and you get picked to be that one. So you were the best 2-year-old colt in the nation. That's a big accomplishment.
This horse had a stellar 2-year-old year. And for me, that's what makes a sire. A really good 2-year-olds make sires. So whatever he does as a 3-year-old's icing on the cake for me.
We discussed it with Keith, and we decided we ran him in the El Primero del Año Derby, and then we decided to take him to Rio Doce.
The first start of his 3-year-old campaign finds the champion 2-year-old colt in the gates at Los Alamitos Racecourse to contest the trials for the Grade 3 El Primero de Año Derby with jockey Jesus Ayala in the irons.
Appeals came flying out of the gate, but KVN Corona is now recovered. Ditto Heads rallying on, and so is King of Appeals, and down along the inside is KVN Corona is coming up on the outside. Ditto Heads making him run for the money, but KVN Corona has too much class. He's back in style, and he wins it by a hit.
Crossing the wire, Jesus Ayala gathered the reins on the colt and is reported in the charts as the horse shied at the wire. Trainer Paul Jones reported no physical issues in the champion 2-year-old colt in the post-race examination, with the qualifying effort putting him as the second fastest qualifier going into the Grade 3 Derby. The champion colt trained nicely going into the Derby. That's 20 days later. 10 3-year-olds lined up to contest the Grade 3 El Primero del Año Derby.
And away they go in the El Primero del Año Derby. The Revenant started off beautifully from down along the inside. Here's KVN Corona is now trying to rally on King of Appeals, running a huge one to the extreme outside. Yankee didn't break. King of Appeals is now coming up fast on the outside. The Revenant down along the inside. And now the champion 2-year-old colt of last year, KVN Corona. Black Friday flies on the outside. KVN Corona, Black Friday, King of Appeals, and the Revenant. But it's going to be KVN Corona, undefeated in 8 starts, taking the El Primero del Año Derby.
The El Primero del Año Derby, he ran really well. He won his trial and come back and won the finals. So that made him, as 3 for 3 and 2 fraternities and a Derby. Undefeated.
But this horse, he started off the year tremendously there at Los Al. Comes right back, wins the stake there, and then I think you would be remiss if you didn't talk about the sportsmanship of Keith Nelson. So he wants to take the horse to Rio Doce and let everybody see the horse. A lot of people don't get to California, so it was important to get out there and try the Rio Doce route.
Yeah, we weren't going to go the mountain. And then when the change in ownership and a lot of those types of things, we're like, hey, the mountain's super important to the industry. We're breeders first, racers second. And so I wanted to go up there to support them, but I also kind of wanted to give him the chance to go out there and run against different horses.
He could have stayed at Los Al, probably remained undefeated, but his sportsmanship said, we're going to take a gamble and we're going to go to Rio Doce.
The undefeated colt arrived in good order on the mountain at Rio Doce Downs at Paul Jones's stable under the care of his assistant Lisa Samuel, with the connection sights set on the trials of the Grade 1 Rio Doce Derby. Rio Doce Derby Trial Day comes and jockey Jesus Ayala makes his way from California to Rio Doce to attempt to keep the champion colt's undefeated record intact. The question was, how would the champion handle the altitude of Rio Doce?
All-around hero, KVN Corona, all-around hero. And then we have This Is a Deal 2 with Rum Running Odie and Extreme Outside Prince of Bodash. KVN Corona getting down to business and opening up on him. Battle for second now. It is KVN Corona, sea level to 6,900 feet. He's got that.
With his perfect undefeated record still intact, KVN Corona qualified into his second Derby of his 3-year-old campaign and only his second attempt, bringing his winning form he showed on the West Coast to the altitude of Rio Doce and continuing to win, and qualifying 4th into the Grade 1 Derby. Trainer Paul Jones had alluded to the satisfaction in the maturity of the colt, whom he had always called the Little Pro, that he has shown from his 2-year-old year well into the thick of things during his 3-year-old campaign. Simply born to be a champion, the brilliant KVN Corona, the son of the legendary Corona cartel, now standing set for 2019 at Lazy E Ranch. The full brother to Grade 1 winner and sire Big Lou was a champion runner, winning the Grade 1 Edberg Million in a gutsy performance for the ages over Los Al 2 Million winner J Fire Up. He also put in an amazing performance to get up in the closing strides to win the Grade 2 Pacific Coast Quarter Horse Racing Association Breeders' Futurity, ready to grab the torch of his legendary father and continue the Corona cartel bloodline into the next generation of runners. The brilliant KVN Corona.